Hello, Nanas. Welcome back to Top Notch TV. With you today is me, Teacher Emis Njabani, and with me is Tr.Risper, Okwisa, and this is a continuation of our session on stylistic devices. And without much ado, welcome, and I hope you learn from the session. So Tr.Risper is going to take us through our first, actually it's our third stylistic device, because in our previous session, we looked at irony and wise sayings stroke proverbs. So our third style is satire, and Tr.Risper is going to take us through that style. Welcome.
Thank you for joining us, learners. We continue into the discussion of our styles. Another style I'll be picking to discuss for today, making for our third style, should have followed the previous episodes. For the others, we are going to talk about satire. First of all, we need to define what is satire. Satire is a humorous way of attacking the ills that bedevil our society. You're talking about the wrongs that are happening in our society, but then you portray it in a humorous manner, in a way that makes the perpetrators of these evils to look ridiculous. And on to my first point under satire. The first point under satire, I'll be talking about what has been made fun of, what has been mocked. Number one, the cowardice or the fearful nature of the municipal officials has been satirized. They are making fun, they are mocking the cowardice of the municipal officials, and this can be found on page 136. We have been looking at these municipal officials. Maybe let me give an example of Mayor Mosi. Mayor Mosi has always been priding himself in being the smoke that thunders. He leaves smoke in his wake. But then you're seeing this man, as much as he portrays himself as someone who is threatening and all that, he is a coward. We are looking at the instances he imagines himself landing in Baneta Express Prison, and it causes him a lot of jitters. Even another one is Justice Jaden. Justice Jaden is also becoming apprehensive at the thought of he can be prosecuted. He's even talking about the way his ulcers has intensified because of what is the allegations that have been leveled against him currently. Still on the point about the cowardice nature of the municipal leaders being mocked, we are looking at the instance that Inspector Tajo came for them. When Inspector Tajo came for them, let's look at some of the reactions. Example, we are seeing that Inspector Bembe tries to run away and then he staggers and falls down. That is fueled by fear. Another person is Mayor Mosi. The same one who has been threatening Nicole, he is now hiding behind Nicole. You see the way, the mockery that is being brought out, the way they are cowards. And another one like Justice Jaden, he is hiding under a table. We are seeing that cowardice is being made fun of. We are moving on to yet another point. What has been mocked, what has been satirized, and evil in society. We are looking at indecisive nature of Mr. Key has been made fun of. Mr. Key, we are being told he was given that name because he can never actually make up his mind which door to open. He's always sitting on the fence, and when he's approached by Ted, instead of giving a direct answer, he goes around in circles, citing proverbs and idioms. At the same time now, to mock this man and his indecisive nature, what has been said? It has been said that he has a problem deciding what he will eat and how much he will eat. This can be found on page 77. The indecisive nature of Mr. Key has been mocked. Taking me to a third point under satire. Remember that you are mocking some things that are serious issues, things we don't like, but then we portray them in a humorous manner. Point number 3, religious hypocrisy has been mocked. And it has been mocked through Mr. Harvester, the CEO of the municipality. This man, he has been approached by Justice Jaden so that he can help Justice Jaden. And when Justice Jaden comes to him, he says, "You are a man of God." And this guy ends up saying, "I'm in no better position because I have also been accused of a number of mistakes and my family is now praying and fasting." You see, this man is like making fun of religion. He has been guilty of some evils, but then he is praying and fasting together with his family to try and to try and come out of the situation. And at the same time, we see that he defends himself by saying, I'm only following the biblical orders that we should obey the authority. That is religious hypocrisy that is being mocked through Mr. Harvester. To my fourth point, there's a mockery of the kind of leaders that run Maracas municipality. In our previous session, when my colleague was talking about irony, there's the way that these people have been portrayed in some kind of, they come out ridiculous. For example, I'll pick on an example like Ted King, the Secretary for Health. This Secretary for Health, look at the kind of way he dresses. Even when he's called for a serious meeting, he comes over there sporting a funny hairstyle, a fade cut, and at the same time, he is wearing ripped jeans. Who comes to a meeting wearing ripped jeans? And still on TED, the kind of leaders, they are mocking the kind of leaders these electorates choose. This guy has always had formerly been a DJ, and he used to be guilty of noise pollution. But then when he goes and stands for office, he is elected unanimously by the youth. What are they really looking for in a leader? Still on the mockery on the leaders, what kind of people are we choosing to lead us? I'll be talking about someone like Ramdae. Ramdae is a con man. We are being told there isn't a person he has not already conned, and he ends up giving people fake title deeds. And taking me to my fifth point on satire, we are mocking the evils in society in a humorous way, and the humorous way in which Mosi confesses to his corrupt nature. He is corrupt. It is an evil in society that you're trying to get rid of. This man is confessing to his corrupt nature, but how does he put it? He says, I'm not a bad person. Whenever I'm given a loaf of bread, I take maybe a slice, 2 slices, at most I'll take 3. But then these other people, they are very greedy to an extent that they will eat the whole loaf, the wrappings, and if necessary, if possible, they could have eaten the vendor as well. That is a humorous way of him accepting that he is a corrupt person. I go to yet another mockery of evil in society, the ills that bedevil our society, and I'll be looking at Justice Jaden and his unjust nature. Justice Jaden, he has been portrayed as someone who is not delivering the justice that is necessary. What does he do? This man always twists the information to fit the situation. For instance, when now he wants to award Ivy, his mistress, the tender, how does he fabricate the story to fit their interests? First of all, he's talking about it is a matter of urgency, that the grains are being consumed by some very bad-tempered rats, and they even have an attitude. Imagine someone talking about rats having an attitude and a bad temper, and in so doing, he twists the story and he rules in favor of Ivy. That is an example of the judicial system being made fun of. It is a mockery of the judicial system. Therefore, it is a point that fits under satire. I'll be welcoming back my colleague so that she can take us through yet another style. Welcome.
Thank you, Tr.Risper. So in our previous session, our learners, I talked about irony and the types of irony, actually 4 types of irony that we have. So one of them was verbal irony, and I said that it's closely related to sarcasm. So in our session today, right now, I'm going to talk about sarcasm. So sarcasm, just like I said, it's also referred to as verbal irony, where someone says the opposite of what they intend to mean. Sometimes, according to our textbooks, sarcasm is actually defined as a bitter wooden remark that is said ironically. A bitter wooden remark that is said ironically. That's why we say that it is what? Verbal irony. It is said ironically, but there is another aspect that is added to sarcasm, that in most cases it tends to wound or hurt the person being addressed. So it's not just plain, but it tends to hurt the person being addressed. So I'll give you a few examples of sarcasm. My first point on sarcasm is on page 9, and it's brought out by Montano when they were staging a skit to help the leaders of Maracas municipality to understand what the Samaritan app or innovation was about during the launch, when Mayor Mosi had actually come to school for the launch. So during that launch, Alvita talks about her visions, all the things that she saw in the future 50 years from now. So Montano tells Alvita they better discuss which side of the fence the bird will fly instead of wasting time discussing a future visions. So Montano is being sarcastic. He's trying to tell Alvita that the things that you're talking about will never come to pass. Those are just fantasies, and we are wasting our time listening to you. We would rather discuss less important things like which side of the fence will the bird fly to, instead of listening to things that will never happen. The things that you're talking about that will never happen in our municipality. So that's Montano being sarcastic. Then page 16, we have a second example. Moss says how he accidentally swallowed a whole toothpick. So this was actually, they're trying to discredit the Samaritan app. And he says that he once remembered how a rumor had been posted about himself, and he was so shocked that he accidentally swallowed a whole toothpick. So Ramdaya is sarcastic. Ramdaya answers him and he tells him he now understands the risk of the Samaritan. Because the Samaritan keeps on posting things about them, he now understands the risk. He says, I now understand the risk because they might spread another rumor about you, making you swallow another toothpick. So Ramdaya is being sarcastic, saying now at the rate that we are going in the Samaritan, you'll swallow so many what? Toothpicks. Yes. So page 76 takes us to our third point. Ted says, Honorable Ferreira, that is Mr. Key, can hardly ever commit to a side. He says this man has never seen a fence on which he can't sit. So this is when now Ted had been tasked to go and see if these members of the council can commit to voting for their side. Yes, for their side, because they were passing a vote of no confidence on Mosi. So he says that there are some people who can never decide, indecisive kind of people, and he talks about Mr. Key. So he sarcastically says that this man has never seen a fence on which he can't sit. It means that this person has never been in a position to make a decision. He does not know which side to take. So he is among the people who are indecisive. Then the next point is on page 79. Ted says, Mr. Torch reaction to who was better leader, that was actually mentioned by our teacher Risper. Between Ramdaya and Mosi was, there is always a winner, even in a beauty contest of Bankies. So when Ted was still doing the same kind of research on the people who are on their side to host Mayor Mosi, he encounters Mr. Torch, and Mr. Torch is said to be very intelligent and very independent-minded. He is not influenced by other people. So he asks, then who is going to take office? Is it Mr. Ramdaya? And when he gives his opinion regarding those two, he says between Mosi and Ramdaya, there is no better leader. So he sarcastically says, even in a beauty contest of monkeys, there is always a winner, meaning that none is better than the other when you come to those two and their leadership skills or qualities. Then the last point that I'm going to discuss here today on sarcasm is on page 125. Seymour tells Ted that he wished Ted could somehow grow some brain. So they were the last scene, second last scene of Act 4. they were discussing how they should go talk to Teacher Nicole and persuade her to take one of the leadership positions in Maracas municipality. They wanted to win her over to their side. And Ted is there talking about how beautiful Teacher Nicole is. Even says, have you seen her legs? And something like that. So Simo is kind of disgusted by Ted's comments about Teacher Nicole, and so he sarcastically tells Ted that I wish that you could somehow grow some brain. So he was trying to say that Ted was someone who was not intelligent. He was not intelligent. So it was some sort of an insult, but it was meant to hurt Ted, so we can say it is sarcasm. So our learners, remember we said that we have other examples. We have not exhausted all of them because of time. So those are just but a few samples or a few examples to help you understand what these styles are, and for you to be able to look for more examples on your own. So I'll pass the baton back to Teacher Risper to tell us about our last style for this session.
Thank you for yet another opportunity. And with each presentation, we are hoping that you are learning something new. For example, we have learned from Madam Emis that with sarcasm, it is intended to wound, it is intended to hurt from the remark that is given. I'm going to discuss yet another style, a style that you're calling rhetorical questions. By definition, rhetorical questions are questions that do not necessarily need an answer. Now, if they do not need an answer, then why are we asking them? The effectiveness of rhetorical questions is meant to make the person being addressed to think deeply about an issue. You want someone to ponder on an issue, whether they made maybe the right decision. You address it using a rhetorical question. I'll just be giving a few examples of the rhetorical questions that we encounter in the book, as much as they are many. The first example of rhetorical question I'll give, it should come from page 129. On page 129, we see that Principal Naren is asking Nicole, did you ever care to know the battles I'm fighting to ensure your safety and the school's position? Did you ever care to know the battles I'm fighting to ensure your safety and the school's position? Now, from that question, Principal Naren wants Nicole to think deeply about the position that she is putting the principal in. By fighting the mayor and his people, she's putting the principal at a difficult position. That is what the principal is trying to communicate to Nicole. You think deeply about what you are doing, and it is raised through a rhetorical question. Another example of a rhetorical question. Another rhetorical question can be found on page 108, page 108. And it is being asked by Bembe, Inspector Bembe asking, a whole judge in this kind of scandal. This was said by Inspector Bembe when they're trying to show or they're trying to intimidate Justice Jaden into joining their side. They now go ahead and they bring about the issue about the rodent gate scandal, the grain scandal, and now they want the judge to think about his position, even as much as he's refusing to join their side. His position will be compromised. He'll be judged more harshly if he does not sweep this matter under the carpet. They're just trying to tell this to him to compromise him and put him and bring him to their side. I go to yet another example on rhetorical questions, and this one can be found on page 35. On page 35, we see that Mosi is asking Simo, how can you justify your current financial status? This was during the time that there seemed to be a disagreement between some two parties. Some wanted that the mayor allows for a supplementary budget from which they could misappropriate and embezzle funds. But then the mayor is trying to tell them the far he has taken them from by maybe having a position within the municipality. Otherwise, how could they justify their current financial status? It has not been acquired in the right way. He's trying to tell them, think deeply. Even the money that you are having, did you acquire it rightfully? That is it about rhetorical questions. The examples are so many. Therefore, I just try to confine myself to a few so that our students get to understand. Yes, Teacher Emis, could you wind up?
Yes, thank you, Teacher Risper. Our learners, we have come to the end of our second session. Stay tuned in, press that subscribe button, and check for more episodes on the Samaritan, because we have tackled the entire book for a clear understanding of the play and in preparation for the exam. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.